Okay, hello and welcome everybody. This is Kathryn Perry, the Big Vision Coach, and welcome to, this is our very first night on our evening edition of the virtual Commanding Wealth Circle. I'm your host, Kathryn Perry. I am a consciousness coach who, and that the best way to describe that is how can you, I help people live a higher vibrational life and do that through their work, their relationships, and to do it in a way that is authentic and works best for them. And I've been doing this work, gosh, since the late 90s. I'm naturally a healer and empath. I'm trained as a hypnotherapist. I've got to work with so many amazing healing modalities. And honestly, the best I've ever found is the one command process that was created by Asara Lovejoy. And this is what we're going to work with tonight. Now, we do have a daytime group, and this group meets every Tuesday at noon Central Time. And then we have this evening group that's going to be meeting on the first and the third Tuesday of each month at 7 p.m. Central. And the reason I'm doing two groups is I've started having people comment that they would love to be here during the day, but now they're working and it's harder to get into the groups because of just work obligations and life. So I've added the evening to help people access the work and get the support they need to apply the one command process to their daily living so that they can create the life that they envision. And I'm just so thrilled. If you have not met me before or worked with me, if you're watching this by replay, these are going to be posted in the Facebook group, on YouTube, and in my private members only area. But just a little bit of the background of the circle itself is that the original circle, the first time I ever experienced this was from the very first time I took a Commanding Wealth class with Asara Lovejoy. I was the promoter. I was just learning about the technique. I'd been a student of Asara Lovejoy's for many years. We'd been business partners, dear friends, been roommates, right? And this work got downloaded, this process and like all the teaching got downloaded into her, and she was living this and applying this. And I was promoting classes for her, and she came to town because of another class she was promoting, and she was teaching me all these principles and taking me through this 6-step process that we're going to do tonight. And I was like, when are you going to tell me about this? Wow. And everyone that experienced this had the same reaction. And so she did create the class, and I got to promote the class. And towards the end of the third day of this 3-day very intense boot camp, we had a gathering of all the students. There were about 35 people there in this class. We got into circles of 6. She gave instructions on how to do this, that we are going to state what it is that we want to the group, very simple. And then the group would affirm back, I absolutely know that you now have that which you desire, and I support you. Then we do the one command process, and everybody gets to share a little bit. Just a lovely little class exercise, right? Which that's an inside joke. We always would say anytime we had a class with Asara and there'd be some big life altering, thing she would take us through, we'd say, yeah, that's just a little class exercise. But I remember distinctly 2 things that happened. 3, honestly. Number 1, there was a woman there that when she was asked what she wanted, she melted down. She just had a total meltdown, freak out. She's laying on the floor. She's shaking. She's just terrified, because never in her life had she been in a space where she could just simply state what she wanted, and she didn't really trust that there would be help and support for her. And we had to spend a good 20 to 30 minutes working on the side with her to get her calm down enough.
Mhm.
And it was so powerful when I watched her have that moment where she said, "This is what I want." And the group just energetically hugged her, witnessed her, supported her. And I just watched all that fear and anxiety. I watched that terror just leave her body. Now, the reason that this is important is very often we have this idea in our head of, I want this, but there's this opposition. But my family might think, or what do my friends say, or I can do this, but my partner, right? And we become afraid to say what we want because, in fact, there's a lot of prosperity teachers that say that. Don't tell anyone. Why? Because they're going to try to talk you out of it. They're going to put you down for it. They may laugh or ridicule because you're bumping up against their comfort zone, not to get up against your ability, but you're bumping up against their comfort zone. And it makes them uncomfortable and feel judged. And so they may be mean and hostile, but some are actually very sweet and just want to help and just want you to think about it, right? So that's one. The other thing that happened in the class was there was a gentleman there who was a chiropractor, and he was in massive debt. And he was in his chiropractic practice. He had a whole bunch of clients who hadn't paid him yet. He was drowning. He had all these loans and all this stuff going on. And he realized in the class that I never actually asked for anybody to pay their bill. He just kept sending it out and going, well, I guess when they have the money, they will. I don't know. I don't want to call. I don't want people to think I only want the money. How many people fall for that? So I'm not going to ask for the money. And this is a common problem in business. You know, it's like, oh, I've got to send out these invoices and just be terrified that their customers who agreed to the work may not pay it, so they don't send it out. And so the other thing is that in Commanding Wealth, we teach that whatever your debt is, and you want to be in what's called the ratio of the golden mean. So if you have $50,000 worth of debt, you're going to command for $150,000. And when he said that, I don't know how I have $150,000 in my bank account, and my debt is erased. I only know it so now. I felt this kind of like, ooh, like you can almost feel every ear just kind of turn and listen to that, like they got a little afraid that was too big for so many people in the room. Okay. And they got afraid. Like, I'm afraid to ask for that. I'm afraid to want that because, you know, in wanting and desire and you not taking action on it, well, then it's always perfect. It's always a perfect thing that's going to happen in the future, but it's not ever going to be anything that you're allowed to want now. And we inadvertently sabotage ourselves. But then we knew it shook him a little. And then he said, okay, hang on. And I'm going to say it again. He said, I don't know how. My debt is 100% clear and I have $150,000 in my bank account. I only know I do now, and I am fulfilled. And then the whole room went from being afraid to being on his side, going, yes, we want that for him as much as we want that which we desire for ourselves. And in our society, we're not really taught how to cheer on and support other people's hopes, wishes, and desires. We aren't taught how to really assist people in getting over that energetic or emotional hump. Some people know how because they were taught. They had to learn, they were self-taught where they had to, just develop some skills to make that happen, or they got some counseling or therapy or other training. But for the most part, most people don't know how to do that. And he raised the expectation, he raised the vibration, he raised and expanded the possibility in that group by stating out loud what it was that he needed. The third thing that happened was what happened to me. And in that group, they said, what do you want? And I said, I just want to be able to talk to, be in a small group, share my gifts, help the people. And I really want to do that living in my own house. Now that was huge because I'd worked in apartments for almost 20 years and my apartment was part of my pay packet. In fact, the first leap that I made in declaring, hey, I am absolutely going into business for myself, is I removed that barrier, because there was a part of me that said, I can't leave this job because my apartment is tied to it. How will I get an apartment, right? Or another place to live? And making that decision to go and get an apartment, even though my pay didn't increase, that was a big jump for me. At the time, I was only making 15 bucks an hour plus my apartment. So you could see I didn't have a whole bunch of extra money. But I just said, I want to be in my own place. And in my mind's eye, I could see just being in a nice house and looking out the patio, and there was a tree, and I'm just with this group of people. And I always wanted to teach classes out of my house. That's how I'd taken the classes at ASARS. I just always loved that. And people said, well, Kathryn, that's too small. That's too little. You want something big and great, because people were commanding their castles and their Maseratis and their millions of dollars in the bank account. But this was an experience that I wanted to create. It mattered in my mind's eye. That's what I could see myself doing. And I had to stand up and advocate for what I really wanted. And you learn to do that. You learn to get clear on that and say, this is what I want. And then other people will tell you that what you want's not enough. That, you know, some people want too much, but you aren't asking for enough, and that's why you're too little, right? Well, according to who? But the more they questioned, the clearer I got. It didn't feel like a criticism. It's like they really wanted something big for me. So I accepted that big dream they had for me, and I accepted what they saw in me. And in doing that, that created space for that vision to get clearer and clearer and clearer. And then did the circle, and less than 6 months later, I hosted my own circle in my home, in my house, with the big tree in the backyard. And then it all grew from there. We had 12 people in that first circle. The next month, everybody but one person manifested something out of that circle. And that's been since 2006. Since then, at one point it was in 17 countries, because with the Commanding Well seminar, we were doing leadership training and that type of thing. But eventually, Asara streamlined the business back to where she's kind of just semi-retired right now. So I'm reviving the circles, and the way we're doing it in these COVID times is virtually. But I do teach people how to host these circles in their own homes so that they can create their own enthusiastic support. So my one little vision, my idea of what would make me happy, turned into an idea greater than itself. And so I just want to tell you that there is no dream too big or too small. And no matter who has ever told you no, there are more people waiting to tell you yes. And this is the place that we're going to make that happen. So I just want to say welcome to everybody who's on the call. This is our first call. And I'm just going to say hello to Bermeeth and to Tana. If you are part of the daytime group, we usually spend time going through, finding out what everybody wants to attract, create, or manifest, and I help them format a command. We're going to do that tonight, but I'm going to add something a little deeper. Now, if you have not studied anything with the one command or commanding wealth, don't worry. You don't have to know how all of it works. I'm just going to ask that you trust and let me walk you through this visualization. And I'm going to be directing your eyes and having you tune into your heart and do different things, because this is like an active meditation, but we are literally shifting your brain waves and starting to lower your brain wave so that you are in the theta brain wave. You're in an expanded state of consciousness. And this allows you to release any of the blocks, fears, doubts, concerns, and to directly down into you all of the skills, attributes, abilities, ways of thinking, ways of being to support your vision. That's what we're doing with this. Pretty powerful stuff. And we do it with a very simple statement. So you're going to be hearing me leading people through a statement called the one command, 6 steps of the one command. And I'm going to get over there. I don't know how, and you'd state what you want. And it's, I only know it so now, and I am fulfilled. That is the one command statement. Of course, there's a lot of variations, and we fine tune it to fit your situation. I'm going to share a concept tonight. I introduced this in the group earlier today, and with the folks that are on the call tonight, we're going to go a little deeper into that. All right. So let me get back here. All right, so I'm going to just do a quick check-in first with Tana. Tana was sweet enough to be on the call earlier today. But Tana, just for the sake of the group tonight, what is it, a welcome first, what is it that you're wanting to create in your life?
What I'd like to do as part of service to others and furthering my work as a healer is to have small groups that are well attended.
Okay.
And by people that experience what they want to experience from it, and they're raving fans, because that's the best kind of advertising. And it's I experienced that a bit, and then I took a job, a W-2 job.
Okay.
But I had a group for 6 months, and like at Friday night, 5 p.m. my time, like 8 p.m. East Coast time, and people came every week, and it was a little bit strange. And this is where the one command, the I don't know how thing is, but it was for what I was saying was the hard time people were having as their abilities grew, and they needed, and so more people were wanting their services and attention, and they needed to stem that tide by actually charging money for it. But
Right.
they were doing it for free. So I've found a few role models in that regard, you being one of them, and I want to have a group of people because I believe in the power of community.
Yeah.
And surrogate families, which is what this becomes, surrogate, like support families. And but I do want to gracefully segue into, okay, this the extension of this group is a paid monthly thing, and then to keep getting closer and closer to having one-on-one clients, but to bring them with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I give a little feedback on that? Just a couple of suggestions. The very first thing that I ever attended that was like a circle type of thing was Asara's. Asara used to do the Reiki attunements, and she was a Reiki teacher. And so she had Reiki circles, and she had the committed time. And I'm trying to remember if it was every week or once a month, but she had these circles, and it wasn't long that I was running the circle. But she would keep it a narrow focus, and then someone would say, oh, I've got more of this or this, and she'd say, well, that's really not to deal with here and now, that's too detailed, that's too much. Let's have a connection afterwards, and let's talk about your situation, and then if I think I can help you. And then she got clients that way.
Yeah.
The first circle I created, I went ahead and charged for. I charged $20 at the door because I wanted to attract buyers and people who are willing to invest. And then I even charged $20 for my intro night because I was teaching, hey, meet the method, meet the one command. And people said, why aren't you charging for this? You're giving a lot of value. And, oh, okay, I'll charge. But the $20, I might even say, well, thank you. because when it was a donation, they didn't actually quite get as much or give as much, right? But they got everything. But the $20 seemed to be like, yeah, that's a pizza. I can do that. If the 20 was a problem, of course, come on in. But if I were upselling to a class, I'd say, let's apply your $20 to the class, right? And people were thrilled, pardon me. So I noticed I got better quality people when I charged. It was still like a 2 hour, I think my circle was 3.5, maybe 4 hours, because I had a break in the middle of social time where everybody could eat. It was just like a whole evening. Well, I can imagine doing that now, but that's the way it was. And at one point I got up to 50 people in my house coming at a regular thing, right? But I had my core group of about 20. But one, you got to have an intention is what do you want the people to get out of the group? But two, what do you want to get out of the group, right? And then what's the next natural step after the group? And when you get those two things figured out, what's the next natural step after, then you'll know how to get your group set up and what to deliver in the group. Does that make sense? Yeah. So you can do it for your growth, but if you want to do it to start building a list, I would go ahead, and people are doing the virtual stuff right now, but they are missing each other and want to be in connection. But set up something that you can charge people, and then upsell it to a monthly mastermind, or this is the healing group, and get them on subscription. But first get your model figured out. Then once you get what's working and feels good for you, then that's when you build the whole rigmarole. But first, just you need to get your hands on the living. You need to get that body before you, that the healer in you has a place to show up. Okay. So does that make sense?
Yeah, I like that. I like that. I was always very uncomfortable with the model. Like, you pay $250 for this weekend, and if you're really serious about what you want to do, you'll pay $30,000 for this year-long coaching thing.
Yeah.
It's too much of a jump. It's
Yeah.
I like people to get to know me because then they're already pre-sold. So
Right.
they're already having a good experience.
Yeah, but they don't have to know you, weeks and days and months. They can usually find some things with your content or whatever, but get something consistent going. That's going to start with your commitment. And I've even put together groups where I said, hey, this is just like a salon. I'm just going to show up. Let's just play. Let me just show you some cool site, PSI. Let me show you some cool size stuff, right? And I would just show him some fun stuff like muscle testing, or I might do channeling, or do readings or whatever, because people just wanted to play and have an experience. And I've charged $75 to $150 for those little things. And people, I was booked all the time with those, with little groups of 4 to 10. Yeah. So you can just do what seems interesting and fun to you. Okay. So the way we're going to frame it is, I don't know how, because you already know you want to create a group. You want to have a group of people that you can commit to fully, right? And are committed to you. So I don't know how I am supported, and supported includes financial. I don't know how I am supported by a wonderful group of students. I only know I am now, and I am fulfilled.
Okay. Now, you want me to repeat that now?
Nope, you can just, that's the command. You could do it now, but I'm going to be walking you up. But you can fine tune it and flex it. It'll change by the time we get there. Okay. So we'll go in there. Okay. Joanna's only going to be on for a moment, so I'm going to say hi to her, and then Bermeeth, we will go to you. Hello, beautiful Joanna. Are you still there? Okay, for a second.
Okay, I am here. It's just been a hell of a day. Whoops, there I am.
Oh, there you are.
It's just been a hell of a day. And I'm here. I wanted to pop in to support you. And I'm listening with half an ear. And I'm listening to what Tana is saying, and that's exactly the command I want to work on, because I need to get out there more. And I'm even trained in circle work, and I don't have a circle.
Yeah.
Trained for years to run circles. And yet there's always that hesitancy of, what if I have that party and nobody shows up? So
Well, that is going to
you wanna
happen sometimes. I have
create
my
some,
first circle that I said, oh, let me take this over to this other event. One man was there and I couldn't get away. I was like, oh my God, please, it's been 2.5, it's 3 hours. Please, can we leave now?
oh my God.
But your job's to show up, right? But yeah, so having that circle of support, I don't know how I'm supported by a circle of students who love and appreciate
Pay
my
lots
work.
of money to want to be with me.
Yeah, well, the support is financial, it's energetic, it's emotional. They're telling their friends about you. So you gotta, and we're gonna be breaking this down a little bit more, but what does support look like for you? And it could be, one, they have the money to pay. They expect to pay. They want to pay.
I want to pay.
Hey,
They
2,
wanna
they
see me
tell
succeed.
they do the work. 3, they tell other people about you and they actively promote you to their friends and family. How's that?
Exactly.
Yeah, you can set that as a parameter. That hey, they tell all their other CEO buddies or whatever, right?
I don't think I want a group of CEOs as much as I really want to. I think I want to work with women, and I've worked with men most of my life, but I think I really, for the kind of circle that I'm thinking about, it's a wisdom circle, and I do wisdom circles in business.
Yeah.
But I have not yet, and I just have to do it, but I don't, and so I'm working on getting over that.
Okay. So we're going to talk about experience. You don't know how to create the experience of having a powerful circle that generates a lot of money for you.
That was so profound for me today. I recorded that last command we did, and I tried to send it to all my gals in my little Monday group, but it was too long, so I couldn't send it. So now I have to figure out another way. But I loved the distinction of me being the person that had the experience. Something clicked in a different way today when you went down that path.
Wonderful. Yeah, I'm noticing definitely something's different. Yeah. And I'm noticing something's different in my energy and attitude during the day too. So
that's interesting.
Yeah. It's there's just much more of a flow and an ease, and I don't know, I'm just noticing something's relaxed in me.
Well, bring it on, baby.
Yeah. Well, we're going to deep dive on that a little bit. Okay.
I'm going to leave you with these two beautiful women. I have a sink full of dishes, and I think I have to stop. It's been a really, I was speaking at 9 o'clock this morning.
I'll have the recording up soon in the private area. Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
You won't. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Joanna.
All right. And Miss Vermeet. Hi.
Hi.
Did your daughter get her hair done okay?
No, she didn't get the hair done. It's a long story that I don't want to get into.
Okay.
I did say she has natural hair. I don't know what else I could possibly explain it, but when we finally got inside, she's like, oh, I'm gonna need like 3 appointments to do her hair because her hair is so long, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I did say she has natural hair. But anyway, I already got an appointment for her at a different place for Thursday. So hopefully that will work out better.
Okay, good. So earlier today, I think you said you're commanding for a new part-time job.
Well, being that, her school is really early. Her school starts at 7:15 in the morning. So I'm gonna have so much free times in my hand. But, I don't like really to work part-time because part-time is just a waste of time.
Yeah.
But I just wanted something that I could do. Maybe I start thinking going to ask for a job at her school, but I could do it while she's at school. And then by the time she gets out, I'm available for me to pick her up. and then take her to other stuff that I need for her to learn. So that's the kind of thing I wanted to
Okay, just so you have something to do.
yeah.
I am trying to think in my life if I ever went and got a job so I have something to do. I have heard about people doing that all the time, but I have got so much to do all the time, even without a job. The thought of getting a job to give me something to do is amazing.
I mean, I've been unemployed for like 2 years, so I need to venture out. I need to start doing something, but that's the situation.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, so I don't know how I have clarity on how to best spend these hours that my daughter's at school. I only know I have clarity now. And I am fulfilled.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that feel good? I don't know how I have clarity.
Yeah.
And then if you had clarity, how would you know? What would it look like or feel like for you?
I will probably get a hint of, what I need to do. To be quite honest, I don't actually want to venture out. I want to be free for myself. Like, I do have a lot of stuff that I want to do because I'm always studying something. I'm always reading something.
Mhm.
Because my goal was always to be a healer, but it's just, I don't know what to do with myself.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with myself.
It sounds like you want to be a healer and you could actually put out like you can do it on phone or Zoom like this, and I'm available during these hours. Set up a little Calendly link that's free, right? Or a PayPal button or whatever, and get your hand on those people. Don't put it off anymore. If you're working at the school cafeteria, how are you going to be a healer?
That's the thing. It's like exactly how. That's why, like, I don't really. That's why I say I don't really want to venture out. But if it's just so many things to think about at the same time. Almost feel overwhelmed.
Yeah, yeah. Just too many things to think about in life, or too many things
Yeah.
to think about to make something happen.
To make something happen.
Okay. What if it were easy to make something happen?
That would be nice.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, there is this idea about having to work hard, but when it's the right thing, you're doing the right thing, it actually doesn't feel hard. There might be a lot of effort or time, but it feels easy to do that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if it were easy, if you were a healer, right? If you were in the experience of being a healer, just close your eyes and be in that experience. And Tana, you too. A healer. I am a healer. And so the healer in me, the healer, greets the healer in you. In this place, let there only be love. Now I have a presence that I call the healer, and when this presence, it feels like masculine energy to me. When it shows up, I always say the healer is here, and right now this extra energy is here. So I just want to invite the healer into our space. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Put your attention on your heart. And the healer that you are, the way that you heal, just allow that to start to expand within you. No longer on the back burner or later or someday. Allow you as the healer to start to fill and fully occupy your body. Notice how this feels in your head. If there's no questioning like, what should I do? How would I do it? What would I charge? Your job right now is to be the healer. You may feel your healing hands. You may feel the healing energy start radiating off of you. But just be the healer right now. I don't know how I make room for the healer in my life. I only know that I am living my life as a healer now, and I am fulfilled. And for you, think about what that would look like. Tana is calling in a group. For you, it may be, deeply personal and intimate, one-on-one. But just now, just notice what that would look like for you if you were doing that. If you were living your life as a healer and having the experience of being a healer and being fully supported as a healer. You may meet some resistance. There could be fear. There could be, well, what about this or this or this? Just notice it and let it go. Now, in your mind's eye, what does that look like? And what does it look like, you living a life as a healer? And I've lived my life as a healer. I had my table up all the time. I had a little office. I had hours set. I would go to networking meetings. So let me show you this cool thing. When I worked at an office and somebody had something happen, they'd say, go see Kathryn. Let her put her hands on you. Go see Kathryn. So imagine someone saying, hey, go see Tana, go see Behrman. She's an amazing healer. Go see her. And those people coming to you. And you feeling good. Go ahead.
I have another issue. The thing with healing is, of course, I always wanted to be more toward children. So based on that, I always wanted to have my own money. So basically, my day, I know exactly what my day will look like. Drop my daughter off. I will work for 2 hours, and then I will be free to receive people and work with them either on phone call or like you say, one-on-one, but not really charging them.
Yeah. Well, then if that's how you want to do it with them, then that comes back to, I don't know how I'm supported to be a healer. The charging them is only a way, right? There are many, many ways. I remember one person said, I'm a healer and I made a deal with God and God lets me win horse races.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Tana, you had something to share?
Yeah, Burmeet, I just got this feeling that anything you do is going to have Burmeet the healer in it. So what's the most fun for you? It's like, whether you washed people's clothes or parked people's cars or made wedding cakes for them or something, they would always come to you because they have, they know they're going to get into a certain super highway of energy, Burmese energy. So, but what came to me is, what is the most fun for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm asking because I'm curious, but you don't have to answer if you don't want. But,
Yeah.
My sense is that even if you rented rooms in your home, people would know that they could regroup They would have a place to live where they could afford, and they would regroup, and they would have healing space, and
Yeah.
you would either talk a lot to them or leave them to their own devices or whatever, but that would be the place. So
Yeah.
Thank,
because you
So-
already have it. So,
Yeah. And the other reason for thank you, that's perfect.
thank,
Yeah, like
Thank
I
you.
decided, I realized I was like mad about being in an apartment. Someone, wait, no matter what I'm doing, no matter where I am, no matter what I'm doing for money, I am a healer. And the craziest stuff started happening at work. I got happier at work, right? Because I wasn't split off from that, right? Right now, you don't know how to be supported as a healer. That's why you would make the command, and then the solution will arrive. So please don't try to figure it all out ahead of time, right? You're supposed to state the desire and allow it to come back in, okay? And then the way will get made. And got a little overthinking. It's like I've got to have every single thing handled and figured out, but I'm going to walk you through this because I had no idea how I was going to get that house. No idea at all. And when it was the perfect house, it was like, I couldn't have designed it any better. Well, yeah, I could have added 2 more kitchen drawers because there was only 1. But other than that, this house was perfect, right? But people would walk in and go, wow, this is just amazing. And I saw a lot of people for free, but I charged most people too, okay? Because you've got to have an energy exchange. So if you want people to bring you, chickens or stock tips, whatever,
yeah.
make it an energy exchange. Oh, I signed you up for 5 Bitcoin. Okay, I'll take those. Yeah. So just say yes to being supported.
Okay.
Okay, in
Mhm.
that. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize my picture here. This is what I shared today because we have this, all all the stuff we have to do. And, we are programmed in modern life in the factory model, which was to create factory workers and people whose only value was what they produced, right? And you're not just allowed to be happy and support yourself in a way that makes sense for you, right? That is goes against all of our training. So it would feel like we have to try and cover all those bases, and your beautiful brain goes into overload. So this way of thinking about what I want to create came in, and the idea is simple. If we are, there's a big belief about what is the universe will and why was all this created. Well, it was so that God or creator can experience itself in various incarnations, in various situations, right? Notice it, creation, situation, right? Incarnation. All of these are states of being, right? And so we're here to experience ourselves in the world and experience ourselves in this, creating love. All right. And that's why a lot of healers are traumatized and their gifts show up because of, a lot of times I think it's because of trauma, but they came into the family system to break out of the family system and to bring healing to it and to the world, right? And so there has to be, and there's higher vibrational ways to do this, but because we're moving from one level of consciousness to another, in this human experience, we kind of have this violent element to break us out of our old state of being and to wake us up. Well, that's a lower level of consciousness. We are moving towards 5D, and I don't have a picture, but we're in these higher dimensions of consciousness to where whatever we think is instantly manifested. Whatever we start having a new conversation internally and externally, and we're picking up the messages. My family always comments that I answer the question before it's asked. Like I was with my granddaughter in the car the other day, and it was kind of time to think about dinner. And I just told her, I said, no, I don't want photo night. Let's do this and this. And she said, I literally was thinking I want pho for dinner, right? And she said, you do that all the time. And that's just, you know, you get tuned in more and you start kind of living from that. So if you're here to have an experience, what do you want to experience next, right? Instead of thinking, oh, I need to create all this money so that I can make good use of my time and be a healer, right? Am I going to manage all this stuff? Let's take our mind off the stuff and the actions we have to take. Let's focus instead on the state of being, like what do we want to experience within ourselves? So number one, the question is, how do I want to experience myself? So both Tana and Vermeeth want to experience themselves as healers who are supported in their work. Okay, and but they also have in common, I'm old, I can say girls, is being supported, that you're not having to work extra for the money, right? That money's somehow a part of this, but it's not the focus of it. And that's where a lot of people get stuck, because we're so used to being focused. We think, well, first we got to figure out how we're going to get paid for it. No, first we got to figure out who we want to serve, right? And what result can we get for them? But what we got to think even before that is, what do I want to experience? How do I want to experience myself? So think for a minute. Do you want to experience yourself as a person who easily creates wealth and abundance? Do you want to experience yourself living in a friendly and cooperative world? Do you want to experience yourself in a healthy and strong body? What would it be like if you experienced yourself as someone who was free to create whatever experience they desired? Okay, so that's the first question. How do I want to experience myself? Next, so we've chosen our desired experience, and just for the sake of this, I'm saying I want to experience myself as one who happily lives a rich and abundant life. So the command would be, IDKH means I don't know how. I don't know how to create the experience of being one who lives a rich and abundant life. I only know I do now, and I am fulfilled. Or I don't know how to create the experience of being a healer with a loyal and appreciative clientele, and I am supported as a healer. I only know, I do now, and I am fulfilled, right? So how would you like to create it? Well, in this example, it was, hey, I want to be someone who owns a business that generates $100,000 a month personal income or more per month. I want to be that kind of person. You may not want to be that kind of person, but how would you like to create it? Well, Tana said, hey, I want to create a group. Gurmeet said, no, I want to be able to work with people one-on-one. So think about what form you want. This is about the form. How would you like to create that experience? What would that look like, right? So in this, we're going to go ahead and stick with this example. So I don't know how, the command is, I don't know how I own a business that generates $100,000 personal income or more per month. I only know I do now, and I am fulfilled. We let it go. We expand it out to an idea even greater. We've gone through the steps. Okay. I will put these slides into the members area. Okay. And I'll put it in the files in the Facebook group. So what's the desired experience? We know, hey, hey, I want to be a person who's doing this thing. How would you like to create it? I want to do it in the sphere of business or not, right? So now there's the three. Well, what would it look like if you were doing that? So then you create 3 scenes, but actually you're creating a vignette, like a little mini movie to support your vision or desire. And you really get into it and feel it. And the law of attraction and Think and Grow Rich and all these books talk about that, but they really don't show you how to do that. So when we're going back to like, yeah, it's going to be a business, right? That generates 100,000 personal income. And my business is working with people one-on-one, or my business is hosting a group mastermind, or I host a class every month. Mine was I hosted a class every month. Okay. So then I'd create 3 vignettes. So you can see your first big check or contract in your hands. Or there's this moment where you decide that because things are going so well, you can finally make a big donation to that cause you care about. Or you can do something wonderful for your family and also feel grateful for the opportunity to make it happen. So take a moment for yourself on what you want to experience. How do you want to experience yourself? We're not going to share. So this is just for you. And how would you like to create it? Okay, there's many, many ways. In fact, there's a suggestion that you would write down immediately after doing the command, all the ways you could make it happen so that you can stress your thinking. But initially you go, well, it's a business. I want to make a lot of money, but I have no idea how that would happen. I purposely chose a number that is out of most people's comfort zone. Then we do the commands. Then we create the 3 scenes to support it. So for me, when I said, you know what, I'm a healer no matter what I do, the way I wanted to do that, create it was to create classes. I wanted to just go ahead and teach a 3-day seminar out of my class, and there was a basic class and an advanced class. It just rolled out very quickly. Once a month, I'm teaching this class. Every 3rd month, I'm teaching the advanced class. And then if someone wants to book me for a class, I'm going to have a host system, and I could go teach 2 more classes a month. So I'm willing to teach up to 3 classes a month and always have 1 week off, right? So I set up my whole business so that I only work 3 weeks out of the month, okay? So that's how I had that set up. That was the first vision. So then when I had an example, well, what would that look like? Well, I see myself in my house teaching the classes. I see myself on the road, like I'm in Boca Raton teaching this class. But I also see, I'm sitting down and I've got these 10 checks in my hand that people gave me for this month's class, okay? So make sure you have something specific and it's really rich. Like I saw that tree in my backyard. And when I saw the tree, my mind went, this is it. This is how I know I'm on the right track. That's what these 3 scenes do for you. 1, increases the parameters, but 2, there'll be little hints or signs. You'll see a common thread, okay? All right, and the good feeling was the support. Well, I'm going to come back to that idea of that circle, of that first circle. And of having that support in that room and that expanding, what that did for my subconscious mind was it was like, oh, this is what support looks like. I want more of this. So everything that I created, that element of being supported was a given. If I did not have that feeling, I didn't do it. So for an example of that would be when I was giving talks, I would tell people, look, if I'm going to come, be sure and promote, because I'm going to be promoting to my groups. I'm going to be promoting on everything. Let's do cross promotion, because this is going to be promoting your center, right? They're used to people going, can I borrow your email list and send a message out? No, I'm like, I'm a business person. Let's make this an event that gets people into your space. That was my attitude. And if people were not willing to do that, I would cancel the gig. If they were not willing to support the event, they were not my people, and I had no problem doing it, and I wasn't mad about it. I just knew that they weren't an energetic support for me. And the place I wound up going, they literally started running radio ads and including me in everything, because I was generating so much business for them. right? So that's the attitude. That's why being in the circle, creating that enthusiastic support for you. Okay, so I'm going to tune back in. I kind of went up on a riff there. Let's check and see if this is clear. Is this making sense? Yeah. So like I said, I'll make sure that I have those. Okay. Yeah. So you might have already noticed, did clarity come in already when you declared this is, what I want to experience? How do I see myself doing it? And then the little vignettes. Is that fun? What's even more fun is when you see it manifested. It's magic. Oh my God, this is exactly how did you get here? It's really fun. So let's go ahead and go for it. For the people who are new, tuning into this one commandment, or the basic one command statement is this: I don't know how and you state your command, whatever it is you desire. I only know it's so now, or I do now, whichever is more grammatically correct for you. And I am fulfilled. That's the statement. As I walk you up into this visualization, I'm going to be making the statement for you. You can follow along, but if you want to say it out loud or mentally, either way works. Okay? In fact, if you're really wanting to make a change, say it out loud first. Okay? All right, because your word is your command. But for this, I'm just tuning into you and I'm making the statement for you so you can just let go and let your mind go where it needs to in order to manifest this. So we have what we call like a lens. How are we looking at this? Well, one, we're looking at it through the lens of the experience that we want to create for ourselves. How we want to experience ourselves, how we want to experience the world. Okay? Then we're going to make this as the first command before we do your next command. So it's this: I don't know how I am directing the full power of my consciousness at every level of my being to experience the fulfillment of my desires. Woo! Hey, if you just made that an affirmation, I am now directing the full power of my consciousness at every level of my being to experience the fulfillment of my desires. Hey, say that as an affirmation and notice how that feels. It's like you're going, wake up, wake up, wake up, everybody. Time to get on the clock. We're making something happen here, right? The full power. It's not a hope or a wish that's out there somewhere. You're committing every part of you to fulfilling this. Whew. And this is the lens. So I'm going to use this, make the statement first. We're going to expand, and then we'll do your personal command. Okay? The 6 steps of the one command. Basically, I'm going to take you through a grounding session, a little grounding visualization, pardon me. Then an alignment to that which you desire, an alignment to your own higher self. Then I'm going to show you how to go to theta by rolling your eyes up and visualizing and imagining that you're traveling outside of your body. Then issuing the one command statement. We're going to expand that into an idea even greater than itself. And then we will consciously receive in gratitude. I'm going to take a little drink. I gotta tell you, this thing for the healers, man, that is so close to my heart because I went through exactly what you're going through. Exactly. And once I made the commitment, it happened. I mean, I really was shocked. People many people commented on how it just felt like I just burst into Dallas and suddenly everybody knew me, and suddenly I was working with everybody and I was everywhere all the time, right? It was kind of amazing, and it didn't feel like I was doing that much more. It just was, I just kept saying yes to the next thing. Okay? When the idea would come in, I'd say yes. When the invitation would come, I'd say yes. All right. So Let's just go ahead and shift gears for a moment. Our healers, our collective healers are here, and I just want to say the master in me greets the master in you. And in this space, let there only be love between us. And I want to just invite you to ground. Feel your connection to the earth and the earth's connection to you. Breathe into that. Yes, thank you. And as you feel that creative life force energy coming up through your body, I want to invite you to bring your attention to your heart as you align to your purpose. There we go. Now I'm going to invite you to become aware of your connection to source. And with your eyes closed, roll your eyes up as if you're trying to look up to the top of your head. And picture, visualize, or imagine that you are traveling up that pole of light. And the higher you go, the faster you go. And soon you find yourself surrounded by the beautiful, velvety black void in space. And then break through the darkness into the light of pure, open potential. Eyes up. They're closed and they're rolled up. We're going to silently state our first commandment. Follow along. I don't know how I am directing the full power of my consciousness at every level of my being, to experience the fulfillment of my desires. I only know I am now, and I am fulfilled. Let that go. Your eyes can relax. And then think about what it is that you wanted to create. An experience of being a healer that is supported mentally, emotionally, financially, spiritually, all the ways that you want to be supported is rolled into that word. I don't know how I can state what you desire. I only know I am now, and I am fulfilled. And now just let it go. Let your eyes should be relaxed. Into that idea even greater that serves more good in its fulfillment. And hey, think of the greater good of you walking around in a happy, fulfilled state, knowing that you are living your purpose and that you're supported. Think about how great that would feel and how many people would be inspired and could begin to believe in its possibility because they met you. And just think about how grateful you're going to feel when the solution arrives, when the people that you're helping get the results they need, when you notice that you're no longer worried about not being on purpose or in your purpose, that there's nothing to worry about. Think about just how grateful you are and all the things that are working together for you right now. And as that's coming in, we're just going to unwind. We're going to let all those old ideas, fears, doubts, all those stories, all the programming, we're going to let it go. It's going to unwind. And then, as the new ideas come in, we're literally shifting your neurology. Your brain is reorganizing itself. Just allow everything to come in and start to rewind and integrate that new possibility, those new ideas. And do an internal check-in before you open your eyes. And think about your command. What do you know now that you didn't know before? Hey, what would be the first action to take? Is there an idea showing up, or do you just finally feel relieved about not having to try to force money into the equation. Just check in with yourself. What do you know now that you didn't know before? And then as soon as we get off the call, be sure and keep a journal, make some notes. And then, of course, inspired action, be sure and be ready for an idea or inspiration or opportunity and go for it. So say yes in advance to all the good, all the opportunities, all the conversations, all the invitations that are on their way. And say yes right now to them. Is this helpful? Yeah?
Absolutely.
Good. Hey,
I couldn't stop yawning.
oh, that's a good sign. You're definitely in theta.
The minute you said connect to your heart, I couldn't stop yawning.
Yeah. Just letting down, relaxing. So that's
Yeah.
perfect. Well, guys, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming out tonight and being supportive of me. And hey, be sure if you know of anyone that you think would benefit from the circle, please be sure and invite them. I always appreciate that. All right, my loves, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. So until next time, this is Kathryn Perry, the Big Vision Coach and a Witness for Mastery. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye, Tana.
Bye-bye.